everyone, I'm Jay from the Actually ADHD Tumblr. Welcome to the official Actually ADHD YouTube channel. Today I am going to talk about attentional control. What is it? Why do ADHDers struggle with it? And how can we deal with issues around it? Hi everybody, Editing Jay here. I recorded this and then I went to edit it and realized that I had tried to use the back camera on my phone to record myself and forgot to change the orientation, so the entire video was just footage of my foot and a sleeping dog. And it wasn't even the dog's face, it was just his tail. So I figured you guys probably didn't want to look at that. So I just put my slides over top of the video. So you still have the audio because I didn't want to have to re-record it. And I hope that you like it. Also, I know I'm talking quite slowly for parts of this video. I was trying to be really clear in my enunciation, and I'm really sorry if it is too slow for you to really pay attention to. That's so ironic given the topic today. Anyway, that's it. Bye. Back to our regular video. First question. What is attentional control? Attentional control is knowing what to pay attention to and the ability to maintain that attention long term. It's something that comes up a lot for ADHDers. Difficulty maintaining attention is why our condition is called attention deficit disorder. But notice what's included in attentional control. We need to both know what to attend to and be able to maintain our attention on that thing. Most of us who struggle with this executive function are pretty clear about the fact that it's not so much a deficit of attention as an uncontrollable attention span. And this problem affects a bunch of other executive functions, because if you struggle to pay attention to important things for a necessary amount of time, you're gonna struggle with anything that's affected by those important things. On top of that, if you struggle with breaking your attention from unimportant things, you're going to struggle with anything that is important and should have interrupted you. This is why when we're stuck in hyperfocus mode, we forget to eat and go to the bathroom and go to bed at a reasonable hour. It's also why we have trouble with long-term projects and often with studying for exams in school. How to gain attentional control? Keeping in mind that attentional control is about both maintaining attention and being able to interrupt attention, there are a number of different ways we can try to get ourselves to attend to what we need to attend to in the moment. I'll try to offer a couple of suggestions for increasing your attention and for interrupting hyperfocus, and hopefully something will help if this is one of your struggles. First, let's talk about how to know what to pay attention to. This can be difficult because we tend to be aware of so many different things in our environment, and because of the way our brains are wired, they can all seem to hold the same level of importance. So, number one, context. If you're in a meeting, typically only one person speaks at a time. In that case, you need to attend to the person who is speaking. In a class lecture, the instructor is the one to listen to. If you're having a conversation with someone, especially if you're in a busy place like a party, then you need to pay attention to that person, not whatever is going on elsewhere. Number 2, practical importance. Yes, prioritizing is difficult, but it's not impossible. If you take context into account, you can probably apply practical importance to your situation and know what you need to pay attention to. For example, if you're driving, you know you need to pay attention to the other cars on the road, as well as the road signs and your speed. Things that are unrelated to driving ought to be ignored or only half attended to. In context, then, if you're driving down the highway and you see a police car on the side of the road with its lights flashing, practically speaking, you need to slow down and, if possible, change lanes so you aren't driving right beside them. Number 3, emergencies. If something happens that is out of the ordinary, especially if it's an emergency situation, like an accident or a fire, then you definitely need to pay attention to that situation and whoever is taking charge. See? Practical, etc. Now, how do you maintain attention once you know what to attend to? That's pretty individual, and it depends a lot on how your brain works, because, believe it or not, all ADHD brains are actually just a little bit different from each other. Taking the examples mentioned previously, you can sometimes maintain your attention in a meeting or in a class lecture by taking notes or by fidgeting with something. If you're someone who can't take notes while listening, see if you can record the session so you can listen back later and take notes while pausing anytime you need to so you can write things down. For meetings, usually someone there will be taking notes that will be distributed later. For school, one accommodation you might be able to access is a note taker. That is someone who is in the same class as you, and they are usually given carbon copy paper, and so then they write their notes on that and give you a copy. Or they might, if they type their notes, then they would just email it to you after class. So then you have the notes to look over and read and stuff, and you're able to actually pay attention to the lecture during class. It can be really useful if that's a problem for you. Fidgeting can sometimes be distracting to others, so it's important to keep that in mind. If you can, choose something that is discreet and quiet, like knitting or crocheting or playing with a tangle. Doodling is another great option as long as your pages won't be passed along to someone else. For some reason, people hate it when you doodle on papers you turn in. Ask me how many school papers I have that got docked because I drew all over the backs of the pages. When you're in conversation with someone and you find your attention wandering, you can come back to things by forcing it. Or you can use a tangle to help you maintain attention during the conversation. I don't recommend playing games on your phone during a conversation. It makes people think you aren't paying attention to them, even though whatever you're doing is helping you do so. Driving requires practice. I have found that music can help me focus on driving, so I like to turn the radio on and sing along when I know the lyrics. The act of scanning the road and my mirrors is pretty automatic at this point. I have been driving for over 30 years, and the knowledge that accidents can be terrible keeps me focused as well. At least in an emergency, adrenaline can help us stay focused on what we need to do and who we're supposed to listen to. Finally, what about when we need to break our attention? When we hit hyper-focus mode, it can be really hard to stop doing what we're doing and pay attention to something else. First, you need to know what triggers your hyperfocus. For me, that's definitely words. If there are words in front of my face, my ears do not work. As a result, I have to actively make the effort to turn away from or put down whatever I am reading when someone is talking to me. I find it easier to do this if I have something in my hands to fidget with. So I have some crochet that I keep on hand pretty much all the time, and I'll pick that up to work on if someone wants to talk to me. Alarms can also be helpful, particularly if they're in a different room and won't stop until you get up and go turn them off. It can be easy to ignore alarms sometimes, so they aren't going to work for everyone. Another way to break your attention is to ask someone to start bugging you at a particular time. That could be via text or phone call or insistent DMs or in person if you're in the same location. I definitely don't have all the answers on this one or on anything. I just have ideas, so many ideas, and sometimes experience to back them up. But really, that's okay. Our situations are all so different from one another, and we need to work to figure out what will help us manage our attention. Today's question: is attentional control one of the executive functions you struggle with? And do you think you can deal with it better now? And, as always, do you have any questions related to attentional control or any other executive functions? How about other topics related to ADHD that you'd like me to talk about? That's it for today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and keep an eye out for my next upload. Peace and blessings.